I get a lot of concerns from parents about how their child gets so nervous before tournaments. This is a very important subject because there are a lot of tennis players that can play tennis really, really well, but they don't know how to control their nerves in a tournament situation. A tournament situation and a practice are two totally different things. You can come out and practice really well or win practice sets against a great tennis player, and then when you go to tournaments, you're really uptight and nervous and you can't sleep and you can't eat before the matches and you're really unsure of yourself. Well, if you're really sure of yourself, you have prepared very well for your tournament. Nerves come about when you are unprepared for the tournament. So when you're nervous, how do you handle that? Well, nerves can be a sign, and a sign that really isn't bad, and it can be that you really do care about what is going on. Nerves are not always a negative thing. I know tennis players that have played some of their best matches when they have been extremely nervous. Well, when they've been extremely nervous, they've concentrated at a very, very high level. When you're nervous, what do you tend to do? Well, there's two types of nerves that you deal with. You deal with kids that have nerves where they go for more and they become very anxious and they go for shots that they normally wouldn't go for. Or you have the other type of tennis player that when they're extremely nervous, they start pushing and they start laying off the ball and they're not accelerating the ball and they're not being aggressive. So how do you handle this? Well, obviously when you become nervous, you start to speed up. So one of the main things that I tell my tennis players is when you're really nervous, you need to slow down. Take the time that you need between each point. You're allowed 25 seconds. Use it. That's what it's there for. If you don't use that time and really think through how you're going to be playing, then the nerves can really take over and it seems really, really fast how you're playing. You can't really think when you're going too fast. Tennis is a thinking man's game. You need to think, you need to take your time, you need to take deep breaths, and you need to assess what is going on. How is your opponent playing you? You know, how are you going to be using your strengths against the opponent's weaknesses? Can you be thinking about this when you're extremely nervous? Yes, but you need to take your time. You need to understand what you're good at and how you're going to be exploiting your opponent. If you don't understand that, then you're going to speed through the matches, you're going to let the nerves take over, and what's going to happen is that the matches are going to go so fast you're really not going to know what's going on, and before you know it, you may be dealt with a loss.